Okay. We in session in two cases. First case is cause number 328-46. Second case is cause number 328-632. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Makara Khan. We have Mr. Khan appearing via Zoom with his attorney, Mr. Terrence Allison. Mr. Khan, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Khan, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir. Sí. Yes, sir.
You may.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you may put your hand down.
Yeah.
Mr. Khan, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
That's good. Mr. Khan, you are represented by attorney Terrence Allison. Mr. Allison, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Mr. Allison, do you waive a record in Mr. Khan's cases?
Excuse me?
Do you waive a record in
Yes.
Mr. Khan's?
Yes.
In cause number 328-466,
Hello. Yeah.
the information alleges that on or about November 20th of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to Class B misdemeanor offense of criminal trespass. Mr. Khan, do you understand what you've been charged with?
A class misdemeanor.
Yeah, but I mean, do you understand that you've been charged with the offense of criminal trespassing?
Yes, I understand that. Yeah.
Now, Mr. Khan, to this charge, how do you plead? Not guilty, guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
It's a mutual thing, yeah. Mutual, not
Okay.
towards.
Now, Mr. Khan, I have before me a document that is titled the Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. This document,
Let go.
this document is also labeled as State's Exhibit number 1. On page 2 of this document, there are a set of initials. And
Oh, shit. His name is George.
these initials are on a line next to a box that's checked nola contendere, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document? Mr. Khan?
Yeah, yes, I did.
Okay, on page 3 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Did you sign this document?
Yeah, Afrotech Technology. Yeah.
You signed the document?
Yeah.
Okay, on the next document, which is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal,
Yeah, HVAC. Yeah.
there's a signature at the bottom of this document above the line that is titled Defendant. Did you also sign this document?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And there are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
And the second box states that you are waiving your right to an appeal, which means you are giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Khan, did you sign a document out there on paper that is titled Discovery Certification?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Somebody called for me, but I didn't, call for cigarettes, Oh, certification, yeah. Did I sign? That's correct.
Okay, you signed the Discovery Certification?
Yeah.
Okay, now, Mr. Khan, before you sign and initial these documents that I have just mentioned to you, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, he did.
And did you
But I'll be
read?
going home. Yeah.
Okay, did you read and understand everything in these documents?
I'm in the shit sink, yeah.
Okay, let me ask you a
Yeah,
question.
yeah, I did.
Oh, you did, okay. Now, Mr. Khan, is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
You say yes.
okay, Mr. Khan. Oh, well, State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor, and also like to offer states to the probable cause affidavit.
No objection.
Okay. Now, Mr. Khan, are you all right?
Yeah, fine.
Okay, why are you laughing?
It was about some, I had an epiphany. About
You had
something.
an epiphany?
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you this here. Are you hearing voices or anything?
Not at all, just, I've been on via.
He said he just doesn't want to be here.
Yeah, I just don't want to be here.
Okay, now I'm just trying to make sure that do you understand what's going on in this case?
Yeah, yeah, it's just a trespassing and pleaded no contest. What all these
Okay,
stuff is about afterwards, you know. I just
what
I want 4 courses a meal. Yeah.
I couldn't hardly hear you. What you said?
He said he understands this is a trespassing case, Judge. He
Okay,
mumbles a lot, so you're not going to understand everything he says, but he does
Okay,
understand that it's a trespassing case, and he's getting
Okay.
credit for time served.
I understand. I just want to make sure that he's mentally competent to stand trial. That's why
He
I'm
might
asking
be
my
a little different or a little odd, but he does understand the charges.
Has he been able to communicate with you?
Yes, he has.
Muhammad go to.
And
Yeah.
as and has he been able to disclose pertinent facts to you and events and his,
Correct,
his state of mind?
No, he didn't discuss the full events of what happened. What he did communicate to me was that he understands his charge and he wants credit for time served so he can get out.
Okay, but let me ask you, has he been able to engage in any reasonable choice of legal strategies and options?
He communicated to me that he wanted the plea offer of 65 days so he can get out of jail, and that he didn't want to fight the charges.
Okay. Okay, but what I'm trying to do is trying to ascertain or determine whether or not there's some evidence to suggest that he may be incompetent. You know, so I'm just trying to
I don't think
figure
he's
out.
incompetent. I think he just comes across as kind of strange.
Okay, well, I'm just observing his strange behavior.
Me too.
And that's why I'm asking a line of questions that I'm asking.
I think he's just an odd character.
Okay, now, Mr. Khan.
Yeah.
Have you ever been diagnosed with any mental issues, mental illnesses?
Yeah.
You have?
Not at all. I have been there mistakenly for false identity or something. Somebody falsely accused me and I went there by accident.
Okay, that wasn't my question. My
Yeah.
question was,
Yes, I have.
have you ever been diagnosed with any mental illness?
Yeah, look, yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Have you, are you on any type of medication? Or have you ever been on type of medication for that mental illness?
yeah.
Okay, are you currently on medication?
Not at all. I'm waiting. Yeah.
He said not at all.
You're currently not on medication.
I'm currently not. That's correct.
Okay,
I got you. I'll take it.
yeah. I don't know if we're gonna be able to go forward on this one. I I may have to, we might have to put,
What would the reasoning be? Because he has communicated that he understands what he's been charged with, and he has communicated that he understands the offer. And keeping him in here just because we find his behavior odd doesn't seem right.
well, I know that, but I'm looking at the factors in chapter 42B.024, the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. These factors considered in an examination of the person to determine whether or not there's some evidence to determine whether or not they are competent. And so that's where I was going with it.
Okay.
The question that I asked you was he able to disclose any pertinent facts, events, or state of mind? And basically you stated that he basically understood what he was charged with, and he want to take the plea bargain, and that was basically it.
Okay.
Okay. So, I mean, what I'm just trying to figure out from looking at, trying to look at his behavior to determine whether or not there is some evidence, some evidence to support a finding that the defendant may be incompetent to stand trial. I think it's, I mean, the standard is if there's a scintilla of evidence, the court can go forward, have him examined to see whether or not, he is competent or incompetent. And so that's the question that that the court is grappling with right now to determine whether or not there is some evidence. So that's what I'm saying. Okay. So,
could we just satisfy that by just walking through the charge and asking him, because
I know, I mean, just like he just did then, I
just think it's gonna be like that every time we see him, because he's just a little different.
Yeah, no, you got
I don't want him to stay locked up forever.
I mean, the court doesn't want it either, and the court doesn't, a person can't be tried on a case if a person is incompetent either. That's the first hurdle you gotta cross. Okay.
I'm not arguing, Judge. We just reset it and we'll come back.
Yeah, I mean, we may have to do that, but just let's hold up on it. Right now, we may come to, I know you have another client that we can get to. We can go ahead on and do that client right now.
Okay, just are we gonna reset his case? Because after my next client, after this next one, I have to leave.
Okay.
I don't have the luxury of being out here all long time today.
Okay.
I understand your concerns. I do, Judge.
Right. Okay, yeah, you might have to reset, I think.
Yes, sir.
With his behavior.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, have the bill. Yeah, have the bill.
I'll see if I can. Would you bring the next one, please? What? Could you bring the next person?
Ortiz. Morning, sir.
Good morning. Just hold on a minute. Let's get your case up.
What did he say about
Here we go. Okay, we're in session in cause number 330-534. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Alejandro Ortiz Jr. Mr. Ortiz, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Ortiz, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth will help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Ortiz, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Ortiz?
Great.
That's good. Mr. Ortiz, I have before me a document that is titled Information. And in this document, Mr. Ortiz, the information alleges that on or about August 8 of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of terroristic threat of family violence. Mr. Ortiz, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to discharge Mr. Ortiz, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty. Yes.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yeah.
And are you pleading guilty? Oh, you did? Well, he said it. Now, Mr. Ortiz, you stated that you pleading guilty, is that correct? Or
Yes.
no contest?
On the tablet, he had chosen no contest.
Okay, now, are you pleading, so Mr. Ortiz, you pleading no contest?
I guess, yeah.
Now, Mr. Ortiz, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
I don't know.
Okay, now, Mr. Ortiz, I have before me a document that is titled the Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. It's also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Mr. Ortiz, on page 2 of this document, there are a set of initials, A-O, on a line next to a box that's checked nolo contendere, which means no contest. Did you place your
Yes, sir.
initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
And on page 3 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled Defendant. Did
Yes,
you
sir.
sign this document?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, there is a signature below. The next document is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. And there is a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Did you place your signature on this document as well?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And the second box states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ortiz, did you also sign a document out there on paper that is titled Discovery Certification?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Ortiz, before you signed and initialed these documents that I have just mentioned, did your attorney, Mr. Allison, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ortiz, well, state, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1, the Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. Would you like to offer State's Exhibit Number 1 and State's Exhibit Number 2, the probable cause affidavit?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No objections.
No objections. State's Exhibits Number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Allison, you advised and counseled Mr. Ortiz. Is there any evidence that he's currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
He's competent, Your Honor.
Mr. Ortiz, your attorney, Mr. Allison, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided fully effective and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Ortiz, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I'll also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
The agreement is for 65 days county jail with credit for time served, tax and retire the court costs.
That's all right.
Mr. Ortiz, the state is offering that you serve 65 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any more time in jail on this case because you've already served 65 days in jail. Therefore, you will be given credit for time served. The court cost in
Yes,
this case, Mr. Ortiz, is $327. However, you will not have to pay the $327 because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court costs will be taxed and retired. Now, Mr. Ortiz, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Ortiz, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you've entered with the state. Mr. Ortiz, this will finalize your case. And Mr. Ortiz, please follow the bailiff, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Thank you,
And,
Mr. Ortiz.
And
Hey, Judge Holmes,
yes,
do I need to tell the staff out here about what happened in the first case? That he's not going to be?
yeah, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna file a sua sponte motion for a psychiatric exam
Yes, sir.
with Dr. Rapon. So,
Yes, sir.
yeah,
Okay.
you could tell them that they can go ahead on and put him up.
Okay, thank you very much, Judge.
All right, and this will conclude your cases. You're free to go as well, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Judge Holmes.
All right, you're welcome. Anybody else ready? Okay, we'll be